be more like Christ. Don't leave anyone out. Whether they have a mental illness or a physical disability, don't focus on that. Focus on what they can do as opposed to what they can't do. And let them decide.
We are all gifted, and the goal is to share our giftedness with others, maybe despite disabilities or even precisely within disabilities.
Ministry Foundations, Disability in Parish Life, brought to you by the National Catholic Partnership on Disability. Claudia Alvarez was born with cerebral palsy and has lived with severe depression for 11 years. She has a joint degree in music and religion from St. Xavier College. Her goal is to work in a parish as a pastoral associate or youth minister.
I was raised in a very traditional Catholic family. I'm number 5 of 6 children, and my parents, my other brothers and sisters, they went to Catholic parochial school, but because of my disability, I wasn't able to do that. But I never felt the difference. God's always been good to me in terms of giving me a church close by that I could walk to. But getting in the door has always been the challenge.
Sister Joanne is an Adrian Dominican working in Detroit. She is a retired teacher and currently serves an inner-city parish working with community outreach, including a large urban garden. She has a learning disability, dyslexia, and a mental illness, bipolar disorder.
Well, I'm a retired teacher and have done many things since retirement. Disability, well, I was born dyslexic, so I went through childhood with many problems in that regard. As far as the mental illness that I was diagnosed with, that was not until I was, 39 years old, 40 years old. And so I have lived with that since. I walk one of the poorest areas of Detroit, walk the streets, have done so for 15 years. And any disability I have is in fact not a factor against my ministry, but makes me a more effective minister.
Danny Boranat was diagnosed with autism at age 3. He enjoys his job at a sheltered workshop, as well as playing sports and practicing the piano. Danny attends Mass with his family and has received his first communion and has been confirmed.
I like to read. I like practicing the piano. I play sports like basketball and baseball, hockey. I like to serve. I like to receive communion at Mass.
Loretta Boratto has 3 sons and a daughter. Her son Danny has autism. She is active in her parish and has taught religious education for many years. She is a special education teacher.
My experience with disabilities was very limited prior to having Danny. The family dynamic when you have a child with autism is impacted greatly. To say that there's a lot of stress would be a tremendous understatement. You know, there's always a balancing act when you have 4 children or any number of children that's more than 2.
Father Jim Bradley was ordained for the Diocese of Brooklyn in 1973. He experienced a stroke in 1985 and after rehabilitation returned to active ministry. He is the director of the Office for Persons with Disabilities within Catholic Charities.
The stroke came on me suddenly. And initially, any person who suffers a sudden trauma like that, the results all you can think of is no. I could no longer drive. I could no longer walk. I had to use a wheelchair. I could no longer ski, and I love skiing. I only had recently developed that love. All you can think of is the negatives. But part of the reason I think I recovered so well is because I grew up in a family where reality was something you may not like, but you learn to accept and move on.
Father Mike Depsick was born deaf into a deaf family. His family communicates by American Sign Language. At the age of 12, Father Mike left his family to attend St. Rita's School for the Deaf in Cincinnati, Ohio. He later felt a call to the priesthood and was ordained a priest with the Oblates of St. Francis de Sales.
Well, I am deaf myself, and I have been a priest for 8 years. I work with deaf people as a priest, doing various roles and responsibilities. I really wanted to become a priest, and I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make that happen. The hard part of joining and living the life of an oblate was that I was the only deaf person, because they didn't know what to do with me. They couldn't communicate with me, and so it would be as though they wouldn't even notice I was in the room, and that was very hard for me. I had to know that I am a very likable person. Many people like me. I'm a nice person. I'm easy to talk to, but I had a sense of being alone an awful lot.
John and Joan Durazo have been happily married for nearly 50 years and have 8 children. Their daughter Valerie was born with significant intellectual and developmental disabilities and lived with her parents until her father experienced several strokes. Following extensive rehabilitation, John returned to the family home while Valerie moved to a group home in their neighborhood where she is happy and enjoying new friends.
Previously, I was a school administrator, a high school administrator, and when I had this stroke, I was preparing to retire, but of course that put an end to retirement. So as I lay there totally paralyzed, all I could move were my eyes, I kept thinking, there goes my retirement. What am I going to do now? How am I going to take care of my family? But believe it or not, a calm came over me. And I said, look, Lord, I'm going to put everything in your hands. And I have not worried since.
And I'm Joan Durazo, his wife, also St. Helens in the Diocese of Brooklyn.
Carmen Greco has been blind since infancy. She grew up in a loving Catholic family and attended Catholic schools. She taught for many years after earning her master's degree in elementary education and education of the blind and vision impaired from Teachers College, Columbia University. She has lived in several parishes where she served as choir director, youth minister, and founded a prayer shawl ministry.
I've always lived on Long Island. I attended an elementary school for the blind in Bronx, New York, Lavelle School for the Blind, that was run by Dominican sisters. And when I graduated from there, I chose not to go on to another school for the blind, but with my good foundation education behind me, chose to go to a Catholic school in my home neighborhood. I was their first blind student. There were times when I had to submit to being asked who dressed me, which was terribly insulting to me at 14, 15 years old when I'd been doing it since I was 4. And then there were times when people just accepted me as an equal, which is what I wanted.
Leonard Gross was born blind and with cerebral palsy and epilepsy. He is active in Our Lady of the Rosary Parish and sings in the choir. He is also an actor in community theater and serves on a disability advisory committee for the Archdiocese of Detroit.
3 challenges, not to mention also being told by the doctors that were supposed to be taking care of me. And I guess they decided to venture in another field and decided they wanted to gamble and tell my folks that they didn't think I was going to make it. But I guess you could say I beat the odds, because I'm still here. Indeed. I want people to be able to have the opportunity, people that have disabilities or whatever, to have the opportunity to do whatever it is they want to do. And I will hope that we are in the process of seeing some doors that have been closed to us open up. And I think that people, need to get over whatever fears they have and give us a chance, because that's all that we're really being asked, is to give us a chance. We're not afraid of failure, but there's a lot of other people that seem to be.
John Keck has served as a special education teacher for over 40 years. He has seen many examples of successful inclusion of students with disabilities. John acquired a physical disability as an adult due to an accident. In 1974, he founded a retreat program for adults with assorted disabilities called Keck, Handicapped Encounter Christ Retreats.
What being a special educator has allowed me to do was to have a whole bunch of different roles with kids, and that's been wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I want to be, in my parish community, I want to be one of a million, not one in a million. I just want to be one of the guys here. I don't want to be pointed out as different, or worst of all, a blessing. I'm no more of a blessing than the drunk who's on the street, and both of us ought to be welcome to come to the house of God. It should be, this is a place where human beings are welcome, and we recognize that we're all broken, because that's who we are.
The late Roger McCarville was the founder and host of A Wider World, a television show featuring people with disabilities living active lives. At the age of 39, a boating accident left him with a physical disability. He was married with 6 children. St. Anne Parish, where he and his family were active members, helped the family through the difficult months and years following the accident. Roger died in September 2009.
We have special this, special that, special programs for disabled people. Well, we're not special. We're people. We're just like everybody else. I want to be included in Mass. I want to be included in the teachings. I want to be included in the program the church is running. I want to be included in everything. So if you're having a program in your church, if it's down in the basement, pull it upstairs. You got rooms to change some of the rooms that you've got, make them accessible.
Colleen Roth was born blind. She is married and mother to 3 daughters with intellectual and developmental disabilities. She lectures at her parish and for diocesan liturgies by reading Braille.
I'm a mom and do a lot of other things, have a lot of hats. I have 3 children with disabilities, 2 of them are deceased. I do a lot of volunteer work, and I'm on the advisory committee for the 211 Family Information Network. Do lots of different things in the community. I am a lector. I have taught CCD in the past and would dearly love to do it again.
Michael Smith lives with Down syndrome. He is active in his parish in Rockville Center, New York, and is a 3rd-degree Knight of Columbus and a member of the Holy Name Society. He plays the saxophone at Mass and parish events.
Playing the saxophone for definitely one. I do enjoy that. There are other things that I do enjoy besides playing this thing. Like barbecuing outside. But I guess you could say I do have a lot of friends, not just within my within my church, but also in job club. I am happy with my life, yes.
Renee and Florence Wood met and began dating in 2000. They were married in 2002. Renee is a disability rights advocate, and Florence is a retired academic librarian. He enjoys genealogy and carpentry, while she enjoys writing poetry and gardening.
When I was born, I had lacked oxygen to my brain, which caused me to have cerebral palsy. So when they took me to the specialist, he just blatantly said to my mom, she's retired, she needs to be put in an institution. My mom just said, no, my baby is not going in an institution. And of course, after the news, they said everybody cried. You know, it was really a sad time. But after the initial reaction, they said I was just Renee.
We talked a lot, and I was just fascinated with the story, and was faced with a dilemma after our first date, because of all the women I had dated, she made the best first impression than anybody that I had talked to. So
my makeup.
Pardon?
It was my makeup.
It was your makeup. But the dilemma was that I thought, you know, you want to call her back. I'm a very intellectually curious person, and she certainly piqued my curiosity. And I wanted to call her back, and I thought, oh my God, what am I getting into? You know, she talks funny, she walks funny, you know, she's not normal. And can I handle this? You know, can I take people looking at you in public like they look at her? You know, and I thought, you know, if you don't have the courage to do this, then, you know, you aren't much of a person. And so I did call her back, and it just went uphill from there. That's how we met, and that's how it all started.